Evening, guys. Hello. Been a while. It's been a while since I've done one of these last live streams, but I wanted to get back to doing them, be a bit more consistent doing them. So, um, I was wanting to get into the stuff this evening about the past couple of days. It's been all about it's been for a few days now. All this stuff, this controversy of what the now former Home Secretary Suella Braverman was saying. So I'm going to get into that stuff, and I'm going to read through the letter, the scathing letter that she sent to the. Well, pretty, let's be honest, it was pretty much an open letter. Everyone was going to see it to the Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. So I'm wanting to get into that stuff with this live stream this evening. So I'm going to do what I usually do. First, I'm going to get the link sent out on Twitter, get the numbers up. Sometimes it just takes a few minutes just to get. I did this out of nowhere. Sometimes it's best if I just give about, I don't know, 15, 20-minute warning. So hope we get a bit of a crowd tonight. So that's the links out now. So it was this stuff I was wanting to get into with all this controversy surrounding with Suella Braverman. It seemed to be a big thing, and the media was doing the big spin, and with the whole thing about what she was saying in relation to the protests, the pro-Palestine protests, and it's a funny one because it's one of those things where I think it's the media that made this more than what it actually was, because it was more the media spinning it, and the more the media putting out that narrative, looks like that all this calls now for Suella Braverman to go to get the sack and all this. And I think it was that agenda there, probably with the left wing media, to come at Suella Braverman because they don't like a lot of what she says. And I don't necessarily agree with a lot of what she says either. But, compared to a lot of those other kind of establishment Tory hacks, there seems to be some more of a substance there to Suella Braverman, where it's not just she's saying all these things that she wants to get done, the typical politician thing where you never deliver on them, but she was actually wanting to get some shit done. Whether you agree with it or not, like it or not, but she still had some guts to me in my book, and there was that courage in her convictions. She still overall gave off a kind of establishment Tory vibes to me. Don't know if I'd fully trust her, if I could fully trust her, but there seemed to be she identified that there was a problem there. We all know it's a big problem with mass migration, especially when it's not legal. I mean, obviously more so when it's illegal, but um, she can point out these problems, and she says what a lot of us people think, but it's in a more kind of professional, articulate, common sense way. But this idea that people say that all this stuff about her being this horrible person, I don't believe it. She seemed to be okay. But certain things that she said, and I will get into some of the controversy with her, she could have worded certain things better, no doubt. But now she's gone, and you've got bloody David Cameron now in her spot. I mean, it's just gonna get worse. It's gonna get worse and worse. And this is the fake right for you. This Tory party. They're not right wing. They're not right wing. I mean, they're globalists. They're globalists who at least will be upfront with you that they'd rather have lower taxes, and they claim to be about business, but they're just establishment hacks. Pretty much all of them. You can't trust them at all. Can't trust them as far as you could throw them, really. This lot, I'm telling you. And with that, yeah. So I want to get into the letter, but I'm just gonna. I was joking. I was almost thinking, should I put the title of this video Suella Braverman to GBUs? Maybe she'll be the next to go to GBUs. You never know. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if she did. It really wouldn't. I'll tell you that much. But that's another kind of link sent out on Twitter. So this stuff then with the letter. So I want to get into this stuff with the letter. So I'm looking at the Independent here. So it starts out. It reads: Suella Braverman's letter in full as ex-Home Secretary attacks Rishi Sunak in scathing letter. Suella Braverman says her attempts to take on key issues was met with disregard and a lack of interest, and I don't believe she's lying. I really don't. Suella Braverman has accused Rishi Sunak of betrayal over a promise to stop small boat crossings in an incendiary letter after being sacked as Home Secretary. In a broadside aimed at the Prime Minister, she accused him of having manifestly and repeatedly failed to deliver on key policies and said his distinctive style of government means you're incapable of doing so. She said Mr. Sunak had not lived up to his promise to do whatever it takes to stop small boat crossings by failing to override human rights concerns about the Rwanda plan. And this is stuff about the whole marketing campaign that they had. And Rishi, that was Rishi, that was his thing, right? Buck stops with him. He's prime minister. Stop the boats. That was the big thing, like a marketing campaign. And we know that was bullshit. We know that was just them telling what they thought the right, or what they may be referred to as what the hard right, what they wanted to hear. They weren't going to stop the boats. That was just another bullshit empty promise that politicians make. And it's just, it's typical. That's the shit that's the shit that they do. you know and they were never going to stop the boats. Well, Rishi Sunak anyway wasn't even going to try and attempt to. But she said Mr. Sunak had not lived up to his promise to do whatever it takes to stop small boat crossings by failing to override human rights concerns about the Rwanda plan. Mrs. Braverman, one of the leading figures of the right of the Tory party, urged Mr. Sunak to change course urgently, telling him he has led the Conservatives to record election defeats and that his resets have failed and that we are running out of time. And this is just before I'm going to get into the letter. Just going to wait and see. Okay, give it a little bit more time because I want to get into the letter when there's some people there and get some feedback and see what they think. Just making sure. Okay, got that link sent out again because I just wanted to get into that stuff with the letter. Um, so I'm going to get into this stuff just any second now. Then with the letter. So where are we? Where's the? I've got it here. So take a look at the full letter below. So with the letter, let's just make a start going through the letter. So it starts out, Dear Prime Minister, thank you for your phone call yesterday morning in which you asked me to leave government. While disappointing, this is for the best. It has been my privilege to serve as Home Secretary and I deliver on what the British people have sent us to Westminster to do. I want to thank all those civil servants, police, border force officers, and security professionals with whom I have worked and whose dedication to public safety is exemplary. I'm proud of what we achieved together, delivering on our manifesto pledge to recruit 20,000 new police officers and enacting new laws such as the Public Order Act 2023 and National Security Act 2023. I also led a programme on reform on antisocial behaviour, police dismissals and standards, reasonable lines of inquiry, grooming gangs, knife crime, non hate crime incidents, and rape and serious sexual offences. And I'm proud of the strategic changes I was delivering to prevent, contest serious organised crime and fraud. I'm sure that this work will continue with the new ministerial team. This is quite a long letter, so I think I'm just going to get into certain parts of it here and not because it's quite a lot to get into. Um, so with this, yeah, sorry, so I'm going to carry on. So with this, Suella Braverman, as you know, I accepted your offer to serve as Home Secretary in October 2022 on certain conditions. Despite you having been rejected by a majority of party members during the summer leadership contest and thus having no personal mandate to be Prime Minister, I agreed to support you with the firm assurances you gave me on key policy priorities. Those were, among other things, reduce overall legal migration as set out in the 2019 manifesto. Though, Fro, and I've got, I missed the page. Sorry. So it was about, yeah. Sorry, it's this bloody adverts that keep popping up in videos on Independent. Reduce overall legal migration. And then it gets to include specific non-withstanding clauses into EU legislation to stop the boats, i.e., exclude the operation of the European Convention on Human Rights, Human Rights Act, and other international law that had thus far obstructed progress on the issue. So it goes quite on. It goes on. First off, issue unequivocal statutory guidance to schools that protects biological sex, safeguards single sex spaces, and empowers parents to know what is being taught to their children. Exactly. How shocking, that should be done. This was a document with clear terms to which you agreed in October 2022 during your second leadership campaign. I trusted you. It is generally agreed that my support was a pivotal factor in winning the leadership contest and thus enabling you to become Prime Minister. That was also another thing with Suella Braverman, though. She was backing Liz Truss, though. She didn't back Sunak in that case. And she was behind Liz Truss, and she was going up against Rishi Sunak and the leadership for the Tory leader. Let's not forget that. But he lost on this bloody thing. Keeps going away on the page for some reason. It carries on though. For a year as Home Secretary, I've sent numerous letters to you on the key subjects contained in our agreement, made requests to discuss them with you and your team, and put forward proposals on how we might deliver these goals. I worked up the legal advice, policy detail, and action to take on these issues. This was often met with evacuation, disregard, and a lack of interest. Again, that doesn't surprise me. You have manifestly and repeatedly failed to deliver on every single one of these key policies. Either your distinctive style of government means you're incapable of doing so, or, as I must surely conclude now, you never had any intention of keeping your promises. I think it was the latter. These are not just pet interests of mine. They are what we promised the British people in our 2019 manifesto, which led to a landslide victory. They are what the people voted for in the 2016 Brexit referendum. Our deal was no mere promise over dinner, to be discarded when convenient and denied when challenged. Exactly, which can happen a lot, can it? Not just in politics, but in world in general. Discarded when convenient, denied when challenged. A hi, Lucha Liz. Is it something with my volume? It might be something on the microphone that might be a bit funny. It might be playing up. Is that okay now? Can you hear me not too bad? Hopefully that's not too bad. So I'll carry on reading this. So it said, I was clear from day one that if you did not wish to leave the ECHR, the way to securely and swiftly deliver a Rwanda partnership would be to block off the ECHR. The HRA and any of our obligations which inhibit our ability to remove those with no right to be in the UK. Our deal expressively referenced notwithstanding clauses to that effect. Your betrayal of this path was not merely a betrayal of our agreement, but a betrayal of your promise to the nation that you would do whatever it takes, remember this, to stop the boats, which was all bullshit. At every stage of litigation, I cautioned you and your team against assuming we would win. I repeatedly urged you to take legislative measures that would better secure us against the possibility of defeat. You ignored these arguments. You opted instead for wishful thinking as a comfort blanket to avoid having to make hard choices. This irresponsibility has wasted time and left the country in an impossible position. If we lose in the Supreme Court, an outcome that I've consistently argued that we must be prepared for, you will have wasted a year and an act of Parliament only to arrive back at square one. Worse than this, your magical thinking, believing that you can will your way through this without upsetting polite opinion. Yeah, you can't please everybody. Liz Truss learned that, right? Has meant that you have failed to prepare any sort of credible plan B. Air quotations, plan B. I wrote to you on multiple occasions setting out what a credible plan B would entail. I'm making clear that unless you pursue these proposals in the event of defeat, there is no hope of fights this side of the election. I received no reply from you. Typical, eh? Where are you from, Lucas? You saying you can't understand me? You talking my accent here, or just something up with my computer that you can't hear me right? I've got my microphone in, Lucas. It should be working. Is it not maybe something on your end, the audio that you're not able to hear me? And she carries on, saying, I can only surmise that this is because you have no appetite for doing what is necessary and therefore no real intention of fulfilling your pledge to the British people. If, on the other hand, we win in the Supreme Court because of the compromises that you insisted on in the Illegal Migration Act, the government will struggle to deliver a Rwanda partnership in the way that the public expects. The act is far from secure against legal challenge. People will not be removed as swiftly as originally proposed. The average claimant will be entitled to months of process, challenge, and appeal. Your insistence that Rule 39 indications are binding in international law against the views of leading lawyers as set out in the House of Lords will leave us vulnerable to being thwarted yet again by the Strasbourg court. Simreg Punk, yeah, you can hear me. Yeah, thanks. It shouldn't be. My mic should be fine, right? Are you sure it's not something on your end, Lucas? No, nothing but love, Lucas. Nothing but love. Okay, so it carries on the letter. So another cause for disappointment, and the context for my recent article in the Times has been your failure to rise to the challenge posed by the increasingly vicious anti-Semitism and extremism displayed on our streets since Hamas terrorist atrocities of the 7th of October. I have become hoarse urging you to consider legislation to ban the hate marches and help stem the rising tide of racism, intimidation, and terrorist glorification, threatening community cohesion. Britain is at a turning point in her history and faces a threat of radicalization and extremism in a way not seen for 20 years. I regret to say that your response has been uncertain, weak, and lacking in the qualities of leadership that this country needs. Rather than fully acknowledge the severity of this threat, your team disagreed with me for weeks that the law needed changing. I mean, there's definitely been a problem for what's been going on. The problem with, the stuff, what's been happening, these people who, pro Palestine, what they're doing, the protests going in, charging into talking to train stations. And again, some people will be a case. Would some people be peaceful about it? Maybe. Then other times these people they're going there and they're going to be harassing people, antagonizing, looking to see, hey, you Jewish, are you a Jew, are you this? That's what's going on. And there needs to be proper things there to prevent that with, the police getting that sorted. So, I mean, she's correct there that there is definitely a problem. There's a problem there. There was a problem there. Where she maybe went wrong was it wasn't all, this stuff with a hate march thing when it came to the stuff with the Palestine. There were a degree of people that where it was a hate thing, but then other people it was more of a peaceful protest thing though. And she maybe did the wrong thing there, making a generalization with that. But Cara, hey, how you doing, Cara? Good to see you. Good of you to join this evening, Cara. Just going through this stuff here, this letter, the scathing letter, Suella Braverman to Rishi Sunak. I don't know if you've seen it yet, or maybe just parts of it, or I'm almost finished. So it says, as on so many other issues, you sought to put off tough decisions in order to minimize political risk to yourself. In doing so, you've increased the very real risk these marches present to everyone else. In October of last year, you were given an opportunity to lead our country. It is a privilege to serve and one we should not take for granted. Service requires bravery and thinking of the common good. It's not about occupying the office as an end in itself. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Someone needs to be honest. Your plan's not working. We have endured record election defeats. Your resets have failed, and we're running out of time. You need to change course urgently. I may have not always found the right words. Yeah, true. But I've always striven to give voice to the quiet majority that supported us in 2019. I've endeavored to be honest and true to the people who put us in these privileged positions. I will, of course, continue to support the government in pursuit of politics which align with an authentic conservative agenda. Sincerely, Suella Braverman. No, Cara, I'm doing good. I'm doing good, thanks. It's been a while, isn't it? Almost what 2.5 weeks since I did my last live stream. But it's good to be back, though. Good to be back. Um, so there, pretty damning, this letter here, Suella Braverman to Rishi Sunak. But I mean, is she wrong though? Is she wrong with the stuff that she's saying? I mean, this whole thing about these were just empty promises, and it's not just Rishi Sunak. That's almost majority of politicians that make empty promises. I mean, who can you trust in politics? The stop the boats thing, I knew the stop the boats thing would be a scam. I remember saying that months ago to a friend of mine. It's all bullshit. You know what I mean? Tories have no intention to stop the boats. And this is just the thing. And I think this is the thing because to me, like a Suella Braverman still gave off establishment Tory vibes. I couldn't fully trust her. But it seems though that now, and especially with like David Cameron now as the Home Secretary, and that whole big shit show, after an hour later after it's announced, he's there walking into Downing Street. I mean, it's all showbiz, this stuff with politics, guys, isn't it? But the same thing though is that David Cameron being brought in is so it's more of that controlled establishment Tories. That's what you're going to get. You're going to get the people that are working for the controllers, or what people refer to as elite. That's what it's about. And I guess with Suella Braverman is she's kind of maybe gone off script, and this is now where it's like, no, you've got to be gone. You've got to be out the picture. And maybe she didn't help herself. Maybe she could have worded things with things she had said a lot better. Don't fully agree with all her takes on things, but she seemed to have some guts, though. She had, I'll go one better, she had some balls. I mean, does Sunak come off like he has balls? I mean, not really. He just has a very slick way of talking, and he has puts a smile on his face, But that. No, I missed you too, though, Cara. I missed you, dear. You're European, Lucas. Where exactly are you from? No, I can speak about other things too, Lucas. It doesn't have to be all about British politics. A braver man. Yeah, that's a good one, Cara. Yeah. Braverman, you haterman. But and I was just looking through some of the stuff, these controversial moments of Suella Braverman. So I mean, the big thing that I guess is what led to her sacking, right? Was the comparing the pro-Palestinian hate marches to the Troubles while the police play favorites. Reading this here, calls for Braverman's sacking were originally sparked after she claimed in the Times that some senior officers play favourites over how they police left-wing protests, such as the most recent pro-Palestine marches. In further, widely criticised comments in the piece, she claimed the police largely ignored pro-Palestine mobs and went on to compare the protest to scenes witnessed in Northern Ireland during the Troubles. She claimed the marches are not a cry for Gaza, but an assertion of primacy by certain groups, particularly Islamists of the kind we are more used to seeing in Northern Ireland. Also disturbingly reminiscent of Ulster, the reports that some of the Saturday's March group organisers have links to terrorist groups. But again, this whole thing, and then you had the whole thing with Tommy Robinson, you know what I mean? Tommy Robinson, him leading a whole army, these far right people on Saturday. If that's probably been all planned out, you know what I mean? I mean, he's a bloody provocateur, Tommy Robinson, let's be honest. And then this just happened in days just after he got his his account reinstated on Twitter. But you just don't know what to believe. But I mean, is she wrong with a lot of this stuff? Is it really peaceful protest what's out there? not, I mean, to not all of it. I mean, sure, it was a bit of a blanket statement to say that about being at hate marches, but I don't think it's an intention of everyone out who's there, you know, standing for Palestine where it's a hate march. But um, but she could have maybe worded that a little bit better, though, no doubt. Um, Well, no, well, the way this works usually, Lucas, is that I'll usually have like a main topic that I'll talk about for the first 20 25 minutes of the live stream. And then after that, it's just kind of like a free for all where we could just any random topic, anything anyone wants to talk about, then you can. So I mean, again, literally, if you've got anything you want to say, any questions, anything, any comments on anything going on in the world, feel free. Obviously, if it's if it's intelligent and you're not just trying to disturb things, but you can say whatever. The floor is yours. No, Cara, that's after 33 minutes. Get it right now, Cara. America politics. Oh, okay. So, I mean, give me your take on what do you think about like Biden and Donald Trump? What's your thoughts on those guys? Geocast, my friend. Hey, how's it going, Geocast? Good to see you. You're back. You're back, Geocast, and better than ever. These are regulars, Lucas, Cara, and Geocast. They've been here from like, what the start, right? You're talking May, June time when I started doing these. 5 months, Cara. Hey, that's great. Yeah, it's pretty long, Geocast, but I've already gone through it, so you can maybe come back check that later when you can go see what was said. Um, yeah, yeah, and again, we talk about. I mean, I maybe talk a bit about stuff to do with celebrities, politics. It could be music, film, just whatever, Lucas. Anything you want to talk about. True crime is something that a few of the loyal members on here they're into the true crime stuff. But another thing, so Suella, it's hard to pronounce that. I was saying Braverman, but it's actually Braverman, isn't it? Uh, you could maybe later on, Lucas. What server is it that I'm on again with you in Discord? What's the server again? All right, content creators. Nice, nice, nice. I wasn't sure if it was another one. Right. So have you got your own YouTube channel as well, Lucas? Or I mean, when I say that, I mean, have you got a big? Do you upload a lot of videos on YouTube quite frequently, or? Nice, nice. Just got to try and build it up, right? I mean, that's kind of what I've been trying to do. It's taken me maybe about 6 or so months to try and build it up a bit more, but it's hard work though, isn't it? Not easy. Um, but yeah, so getting to the stuff then, Suella Braverman. So she said homelessness is a lifestyle choice, and this is supposedly what this said was apparently what the straw that broke the camel's back when it comes to this stuff with Sunak wanting to let her go, supposedly. Um, just days before her comments in Northern Ireland, the former Home Secretary caused outrage by claiming that those who are sleeping in the streets are only doing so because it's a lifestyle choice. On a thread shared to X, formerly known as Twitter, she claimed that many living in tents on the streets are from abroad as she vowed to crack down on aggressive begging and accused rough sleepers of causing nuisance and distress to other people by pitching tents in public places. Well, I mean, is she wrong with these things? I mean, let's face it. I mean, if you had people, okay, they might be in a rough spot, but they're homeless in a tent close by to where you live. Let's face it. Would you want them nearby your place? You might feel bad for them, but still, they're that close to you. Let's be really honest here. Would you want them close by? You probably, most people probably would have a problem with that. You know, I mean, plenty of rich people who the virtue signal type, and then obviously, like you think, like there's the whole thing with homelessness. This it's terrible. It's the worst it's probably been ever. Like in California. But then you've got Cher. Cher. She hates California now. She's wanting to get the hell out because she's got homeless people. Living close, camping out close to where she's at. You wouldn't really want that, would you? Let's be honest. Um, Our comments came amid plans to introduce restrictions on the use of tents in urban environments, including fining charities for handing them out if they're deemed to have caused a nuisance, proposals the Prime Minister has not ruled out. Homelessness charities hit out at Braverman with shelter, saying homeless people should not be punished, and blamed the number of rough sleepers in the street of England on failed government policy. We don't have nearly enough affordable homes, and rents are soaring, leaving people destitute and forced to sleep rough. Comedian Joe Lycett weighed into the debate and raised more than 50 grand for Crisis UK after urging people to donate as he criticised Braverman's remarks. After suppressing the target within days, he wrote, "Of course, my main thanks must go to Suella. Without your lifestyle choice of being callous and cruel towards the most vulnerable people in society, none of this would have happened." I mean, I felt the lifestyle choice thing was more, it could be more, like people could fall in hard times. That's very bad. But it's more that thing of, go to bloody California, see how it's bad, how terrible it's there with homelessness. It's horrible, it's heartbreaking. But at the same time, it's a lot of people, they're drugged out of their mind, crapping on the streets. I mean, it's not just like let's say like a working single mother with 3 kids that's fallen on hard times. These are different types of let's say circumstances with different people, different experiences. Um, But again, Saul Braverman should have been careful because it was a big generalization she made there. Um, well, we can talk another time, Lucas. We can talk another time, but not for now because I'm doing this video. Uh, Maxter style, yeah. When was her last call-in show, Julio Cass? When was the last call-in show she did? Has it been a while? Maybe I'll go on. Maybe another time. Uh, okay, it carries on. Suella Braverman. People seeking UK asylum pretending to be gay. In September, the former Home Secretary claimed in many instances asylum seekers pretend to be gay to get special treatment and stay in the UK. She told ITV's Peston programme that people purport to be gay when they're not actually gay in an effort to game the system, saying it was not fair and it's not right. Well, I'm sure there's been cases of that where that is the case and that's what they've done and they're at it and they're playing the system. And especially with things going on today in the past 10 years of how things are and how, you know, the world's changed and views have changed on this. And obviously, important, I think, good to change with the times. But these people are definitely playing the system. There'll be people out there, not all people, but some people that do that. The comments were in defense of a speech she made in Washington in which she claimed multiculturalism had failed and warned of the West's existential, sorry, I'm bad with pronouncing words, existential challenge of uncontrolled immigration. She did one a couple of weeks ago. Send her to Rwanda. Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not so sure about the Rwanda thing, but again, there is a problem there. We can't pretend there isn't, and they're in a position in politics where they've got to try and do their job, solve problems the best they can, but they're not always popular decisions, aren't they? The most popular decisions, but you have to make tough decisions sometimes. You're not going to always please everybody. So she had said that grooming gangs were almost all British Pakistani men. The Independent Press Standards Organisation waded into a row over claims Braverman made that grooming gangs are almost all British Pakistani men. She wrote that the perpetrators behind the grooming gangs phenomenon were groups of men, almost all British Pakistani, who hold cultural attitudes completely incompatible with British values, and that they have been left mostly unchallenged both within their communities and by wider society. But apparently, Home Office research claimed that in 2020, findings that group-based child sexual offenders were mainly white males under 30. But then again, how credible is that research exactly, though? Let's be honest, though. Is it really? I mean, there's all that stuff. You go back to the grooming gangs, what happened, all that. I mean, again, I don't know. I don't know about that, but yeah, I know, Julius. It's just David Bloody Cameron back though, eh? That, I mean, it's just so laughable, isn't it? Eh? That he's going to be back again. It'll be just, you know how it is. I mean, it's just well, I mean, say entertainment, but I mean, it's never really, and it's not. I don't find these spats with Bloody. They've never really stood out. Sunak and Jeremy Corbyn's, back and forths at the House of Commons, but to be fair, David Cameron and Gordon Brown back in the day used to have some pretty good back and forths. They were pretty funny to watch at times, to be fair. But this shit is pretty boring, isn't it, really? But it goes on. So, controversial moments. Suella Braverman, a migrant invasion. The former Home Secretary faced backlash after she claimed there's an invasion of migrants on the southern coast of England. She received backlash for her choice of language, which refugee charities described as highly offensive, and said the rhetoric puts so many people at risk. Her remarks came just days after incendiary devices were thrown at a Dover migrant processing centre, causing a fire. Braverman told the Commons in November last year that around 40,000 people had arrived in the south coast of England in 2022, many of them facilitated by criminal gangs, some of them actual members of criminal gangs. It goes on. Her dream and obsession to watch asylum seekers reported to Rwanda. Speaking at the Tory party conference in October last year, Braverman said it was her dream to watch a plane of asylum seekers take off to Rwanda before Christmas. She maybe shouldn't have gone there with that. I mean, yeah. Her comments came after a deportation flight of asylum seekers to Rwanda, organised by the British government, had been blocked by an injunction from the European Court of Human Rights several months prior. She told a fringe event she'd love to be claiming victory. I would love to be having a front page of the Telegraph with a plane taken off to Rwanda. That's my dream. That's my obsession. It's a bit strange with that, but nevertheless. And also other stuff here, sending official government documents to her personal email. That's kind of a no-no there. And same month last year, Braverman admitted she sent official government documents to her personal email on 6 occasions, and that's a breach of the ministerial code. The security breach triggered her resignation as Home Secretary under Liz Truss premiership. She said she had sent the official documents to a government email to her personal address. She could refer them back to them on her mobile while conducting virtual Home Office meetings on her work phone or to take on her work phone or to take into interviews. She admitted to doing so on 6 occasions between September the 6th and October 19th, and only in incidents she judged as reasonable. But she should probably know better than that. She shouldn't have been doing that, though. But I mean, that's the thing, is that, I mean, if there was ever a case of a wolf in sheep's clothing, it's David Cameron. You add Tony Blair in there. You add a buddy George Bush in there, and you buddy add Bill Clinton in there, Barack Obama in there, all wolves in sheep's clothing. Justin Trudeau, another one, all of them, all of them. It's the harm they do up here. You know what I mean? Because physically, they can't go. It's not like these guys could ever really go in a fight. You know what I mean? But maybe Obama out of that lot could maybe throw one decent punch, maybe at best. But I mean, physically, all those guys are weaklings, though. But they're the ones with the power, though. I'd put Zelensky in that camp as well, in that category with them. But yes, so now Suella Braverman is gone as the Home Secretary. So I don't know what will be next now. What's next for Suella Braverman? You've got Nigel Farage away in the jungle right now, and going to do I'm a Celebrity. So I don't know. Maybe Suella, maybe she ends up on GBUs. Boris is going to be on there. You've got buddy, what's his face? Lee, what's his name? Is it Lee Johnson, the guy? Lee Anderson, the chairman of the party. So if she ends up on GBUs within a month or so, that wouldn't surprise me. Honestly, wouldn't. Suella Braverman ends up on that show, wouldn't surprise me one bit. Well, if you say you've got some stuff to say, Lucas, the floor is yours. Anything you want to talk about? Any questions? Go, fire away now then. Fire away. Let's hear it. Just while I have just a bit of just a break. I'm just having a Sprite here. So no. Just ask a question now. Ask any question you want. Anything you want to talk about, just fire away. Was that the person I banned, Duocast? I'd forgot about that person. I'll give him the chance to talk, but just looking at an article here from the GBUs, it says, exclusive, Rishi Sunak plunged into fresh crisis by catastrophic U data just hours before Supreme Court ruling that risks sinking his premiership. Well, we're a lot of us aren't fans of King Charles. I mean, I can't speak for anybody on here, but I'm not a particular fan of King Charles. Very questionable how he's operated in his life. The death of Diana, a lot of questions there. The friendship with Jimmy Savile, they were like best buds at one point. That's questionable. But typically, the media give him a free pass on that. He's never been quizzed on that. Never been asked a question about his friendship with Jimmy Savile. So says here, so Sunak's premiership has been plunged. Sir Keir Starmer's Labour Party leading the Tories by 30 points. People polling surveyed 1,500 people exclusively for GBUs immediately after the Prime Minister conducted his reshuffle yesterday. God, I'm finding it hard to pronounce words today, like certain tongue twisters. I'm like, ugh, I can't speak. Like, bloody hell. Yeah, I know Cara. I know King Charles, right? Not your king, huh? But it says here, Sunak sacked controversial Home Secretary following her incendiary article about pro-Palestine protesters. He appointed former Prime Minister David Cameron, who left Downing Street following the Brexit vote in 2016, to the Foreign Office. However, the cabinet changes have not appeared to have helped stabilise Sunak's support. Only 19% claimed they would vote for the Tory party if a general election were held tomorrow. But then again, doesn't mean you'd vote for Labour or Lib Dems, though. I certainly wouldn't. Almost half of voters, 49%, revealed they would vote for Labour. Richard Tice's Reform UK, like they stand a chance, also looks likely to benefit from Tory woes, as 11% of respondents threw their weight behind the populist party. Support for the Liberal Democrats stands at just 9%, Lib Dem, gee whiz, and the Green Party is registering around 7%. The government is facing a crunch moment tomorrow as the Supreme Court looks poised to give its decision on whether the Rwanda migration plan is lawful. A plurality of Britons support the policy, with 40% backing it and 32% opposing it. So I guess what, 28% either are indifferent or don't have a clue. Is that what it is? Or there's growing concern that the Supreme Court will rule the Rwanda plan is unlawful, but Immigration Minister Robert Jenrick insisted the government's policy will go ahead before the next election. So this was a GBU's People's poll. If there were a general election, who would you vote for? And they said 49% Labour, 19% Conservative. Yeah, we always respectfully disagree with one another, and yeah. But don't, I'm doing a live stream, Lucas, with how I do it. Usually there's usually regular people on here, so that's what I do. We can have a conversation later on, but don't try and hijack what I'm trying to do, what I'm doing here now, talking to people I know like Cara and Geocast and others. So don't try and hijack what I'm doing right here, okay? But just looking at Daily Mail, Suella Braverman accuses Rishi Sunak of having no policy gets blocked by Supreme Court. That's the big headline. Yeah, something to like. If we were on the same time, Geocast, on a call-in show with Penny Bunny, it would be interesting. Maybe the next one, maybe it's like a Friday evening or something. I'm not doing anything. Maybe I'll go on. That'd be good. I didn't know you were in the UK, Lucas. So I usually do a live stream. On average, I do about 60 minutes for a live stream. So I've got about 4 or 5 minutes to go now. So I mean, Lucas, if you've got any serious questions, if you want to talk about anything serious, feel free. We can talk here, but I'm not going to be free right after I do this. But you want to talk about anything proper you want to talk about, fire away. Julia, Cass, if Cara, you're there, any final words, questions, give me a shout. I don't know, fair enough. I mean, G, I'm 32, but I had probably that feeling when I was you, Lucas, 24, still trying to figure out what I was wanting to do in my life, you know? And you do feel this world is like where the fuck's this world going? It doesn't feel like it's going in a positive direction. Sadly. I don't want to say that. I don't get joy saying that. Just weird times that we're living in right now though. You're fucking great too, Cara. You know I feel that way. Don't need to say it, but thanks. I usually, like I said, Lucas, I do these live streams. I do usually maybe 2 or 3 a week. I try to anyway. But feel free, you're welcome to come around. But yeah, if you want to message me in Discord, we can chat. Maybe not right now, but a little later on another time we can do a call. That's not a problem. But all right, guys. So I'm gonna wrap up this live stream now. So thanks a lot for coming on. Um, my next live stream, I don't know, maybe tomorrow. I'll see how I feel. Well, yeah, just ping me a message on Discord, Lucas. But my plan is I'll maybe do a live stream tomorrow. If not tomorrow, maybe Friday. Try and do one then. I'll maybe try and do a live stream around 8ish time. Try and keep them a bit earlier. Let's get more of a crowd around time. If I leave it too late, it's never good. But thanks, guys. Thanks for everybody who came on. I really do appreciate it. So my plan will probably be I will try and do a live stream tomorrow around just a little bit after 8 o'clock. I'll do one. So thanks very much, everybody who came on. Appreciate it. Take care. See ya. Bye.